I don't like clothes. I mean,
Take them off.
but still, I mean,
Now you are afraid of what? A human-like robots,
no, I'm not afraid.
Well, I've had a little look at it, and yeah, it does seem a little creepy.
Hi, and welcome to the Cybernews weekly podcast. Today, Julian Assange is finally free. Japanese scientists attach living skin to robot faces. There's a new clothing line for the anti-5G folk. And thugs do crypto crimes in an old school way. Hi guys, this is Jurgita and Neve, my colleagues at Cybernews. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
As you can see, I'm fine.
Yeah, we're doing great.
As are you.
We all seem very fine.
I for a
Indeed.
second forgot that I was wearing this, but
Yeah, this is actually one of the topics that we're going to talk about today. First off, of course, we're going to start with a story right from Japan, a pretty weird one. The BBC reported that faces made of living skin are making robots smile. So apparently Japanese scientists have found a way to attach living skin to robot faces for more realistic smiles and other kinds of facial expressions. This is basically copying tissue structures in people. According to the team at Tokyo University, we've all seen the little pics. So far, the prototype is really a bit more like Haribo-like.
it's abhorrent. Yeah,
It's quite creepy.
really weird.
How creepy is it, though, Neve?
Well, I've had a little look at it, and yeah, it does seem a little creepy. I just was wondering why we would want to do this kind of thing. Why you want to put skin onto a robot to make it more human-like?
Well, to some, the dream is to make like humanoid android kind of thing, and then live a perfect harmony of robot human life. Maybe even marry one. I don't know.
But like how I understand our relationship with robots, or like what I've understood from media and books and stuff, is that we kind of want them to be subservient.
We want to, yeah, but
then-
some maybe don't. I don't know.
Then you mentioned we talked maybe about the uncanny valley.
Yeah, there's a kind of a effect out there called the uncanny valley, because you're right probably in saying that humans feel like they have to develop robots more and more and make them more modern, but at the same time, me personally, I don't want it to be more human-like. I want it to remain a robot. And when I look at it, I can see that it's a robot, and whatever it's doing, it's a robot, not a human. And the feeling that you get when a machine resembles a human being too closely, and then you're not really
there's something
comfortable
off.
about it. Yeah, so that's called
Something off
Bikimi no Tani or Uncanny Valley.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's a bit strange. So I don't know where this is going in the future. What about you, Gita? What do you think? I mean, are we gonna try to develop these sci-fi androids?
Don't really see this as sci-fi because we already humanize robots to quite a huge extent. Let's take AI chatbots, right? In many cases, we can't even tell whether we are talking to a live person or is it just a bot. So when it comes to algorithm and code, we already have sort of human-like robots, right? Of course, to some extent and with some limitations. And now, while this research is more scientific, so it's just another cool thing that, the scientists did. It doesn't mean that, it's gonna become mainstream now and every tech company will start using that artificial skin, right? But it seems that it could be used for like good marketing purposes. Let's say there are these robots that are supposed to help elderly people with like daily tasks, from logging into your banking accounts to like daily tasks, even like helping calling someone, right, and whatnot. So these robots are supposed to be daily around you all day, just to help you out with like tasks that you can't be, you can't deal with them. So I guess it makes kind of sense, to try and sell those humanized robots to people who really want that. For some, it's for Jugendterrorist, let's say. Yes, you
Thank
would
you.
prefer have maybe metallic sort of robot that is clearly a robot that is clearly tech, right?
Like
Okay,
Tesla,
I think
Optimus
my
style.
headphones are falling down. Yeah, but for some people, and even for me, I guess, I would prefer to see, a very cool robot, the one that we've been imagining, right? The one that kind of resembles a human. That's just another level of humanizing that. I guess it could be, very funny and very creepy at the time when, let's say, AI is sentient and robots are develop conscience of some sorts.
You're saying it as if it's gonna become a fact one day. I don't believe so.
Yeah,
but-
because I was thinking, like, are we really striving for that kind of human-like robots where it becomes indistinguishable? Because my theory is that I feel like they maybe there's the technology to make them more human-like now, but maybe they're kind of making it so uncanny so that we can distance ourselves from robots and
you think
humans.
it's a ploy?
Well, it could potentially be a ploy. I'm not saying it is right now, but I'm thinking like we have to recognize like something like that's the thing with the uncanny valley. It looks convincing, but there's something not right about it. And that's how you can distinguish humans from robots, maybe.
But why would you even need to distinguish them? It's just one research, and I don't think that, as with any other research, articles and works, they are not trying to kind of solve this whole problem, and there's no one answer here. So, they are just putting a technology and invention out there so that, tech companies that see a market for people who want human-like robots could buy those, and others could buy just, very artificially looking ones. I think there are many possible ways here. It's just the research is so cool because that skin has even self-healing capabilities as we do. And next thing they are going to develop, from what I get, is artificial muscles. So only that, then it would be, more even human-like, because that robot could actually express emotions in the way we do, like having all the face muscles or some of them that we do. And then, it's up to us, up to tech companies, innovators to, see how we could use it, or maybe we won't use it because it's going to be very, very expensive, I guess, to kind of stick that skin to every robot out there. But, it opens a lot of interesting opportunities from, I don't know, show businesses to elderly care and whatnot.
For sure.
Yeah, I guess there's a space for all kinds of stuff to be done with stuff. I guess. I mean, I personally would like someone to develop a robot, and it's perfectly doable. I think. Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the depressed robot. I'd love that one. Like a personal assistant who's always depressed and makes me feel better. I'd like that one, but maybe some rich guys, I guess, would like to have a.
The ego.
They would have a fetish for like humanoid robots with more or less realistic facial expressions and maybe more.
Yeah.
Like develop a humanoid sex doll with
reading
facial
a book
expressions
about
or
something
whatnot.
like
Elon
that.
Musk, I think, would actually, But yeah, I think there's just space for all kinds of stuff to be done. I mean, I don't mind that. We're actually used to a lot of crap and not crap content and things and gadgets all around us, right? So
That's a bit too in your face, though. Like these
you don't have to have it next to your face. I mean, no one's forcing you to buy it or try it,
No, it's true.
unless we're again delving into these sci-fi scenarios of these humanoids attacking us, like, and then we're not knowing that they're not human or something like that. But that's really, really far into the future, if ever,
Not a conversation.
That's a big
now.
jump from, some cool scientists developing something very cool like self-healing artificial skins that now stick to robots to,
But what could be like
robots taking
real
over
life
the world.
applications? Maybe they could grow some tissue and then apply them to humans who are suffering from some disease. And
Or
what's the practical?
need a skin graft or something.
No,
if they've
I
been
don't think
burned
this is
victim.
that sort of research. They specifically were trying to make that artificial skin stick to robots, like to metal and all those materials.
So it's a bit pointless then. Yeah.
Or no, ultimately for prosthetic limbs, maybe to make prosthetic limbs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
cool.
more realistic.
Thank you, Neve.
Interesting.
You have restored my hope in humanity and Japan.
Good.
In other news related to what we're wearing today, we look like tinfoil spaghetti chefs or something.
Little Martians.
Yeah. So I actually had this idea that, okay, this is a bit old now, it's boring, but apparently it's not. And Jurgita corrected me. It's not. There's a huge market for stuff like our hats. Because a musician called M.I.A.
M.I.A.
Okay, missing in action, has just launched a clothing company that claims to block 5G waves from entering your body and brain.
Oh, and a lot more random.
Oh yeah. It
things.
includes these for $100 each. I mean, presumably they're better looking.
Not
Yeah.
these. These are not for sale, even though we could sell them
We
for
still
like
bought tinfoil though.
Bucket hats.
Yeah,
Bucket hats.
Bucket hats.
Not tin foil, but silver, copper, and nickel bucket hats is what
Right.
she's in the market for, basically.
Okay, so what's the company called?
Omni,
Omni. Yeah.
I think Omni.
Yeah, so it's the usual phrases that we would get from, I guess, that sort of people or companies. They describe themselves as the armor of the modern knight in the age of modern technological warfare. We're at
Wow.
war, it seems, yeah. It's also your last frontier at preserving your privacy, autonomy, and rights over your body and your data. While I agree with all that, I still think it's an absolute joke, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're worried about your phone getting hacked, why not buy the anti-trace phone case? Like, it just, I don't
They
know.
do it.
No,
They do
that
exist.
one is not a joke. It's a
Yeah.
business case. Like if she manages to sell some of those hats, there's just profit in her pocket. This is a joke.
Yeah.
We're not making money wearing those, right? And yeah,
We'll
so
see. We'll see. YouTube,
Yeah.
okay. So I looked into the topic because at first I thought, okay, that's a brilliant idea. It's so simple. Why no one has thought of it before? Why is it just now? Because obviously, I don't know what she's thinking about it. We'll get to that later probably. But essentially, things like this are marketed towards maybe a little bit paranoid people, some of them more, they are trying to avoid mind reading, telepathy, and those things. Others are trying to protect themselves from, 5G, Wi-Fi, all the electromagnetic activity, radiation, whatnot. And, given how popular some of the conspiracy theories are, including, this fear of technology. And we do fear technology. You, Gintaras, don't even try to...
Technophobe.
Yeah, because, now you are afraid of what? A human like robots,
No, I'm not afraid.
no one
I
would
don't-
say they're
I
afraid,
don't- I
but
don't need them.
this is a little bit similar to that. It's just that, they are maybe afraid of more old school technology that's been around with us, for decades, if not more, And there's a huge market of people who fear change, fear technology. They don't trust it because they don't maybe know how it works. And it turns out that there's a whole huge market for that. And M.I.A, she's not that unique here. There are tents, coats, bracelets, whatnot, that are supposed to protect you from all sorts of electromagnetic activity. $100 for a hat doesn't even seem that expensive to me, because regular fashion hats, they are more expensive than that, could cost like $500 or $2,000. So if you like the style and materials, why not buy it? Why not?
I mean, usually like celebrities or artists who create clothing, it's usually pretty expensive anyway. Like
Perfume, clothing,
beauty products, whatever. It's usually pretty expensive.
Is there an anti-5G perfume maybe somewhere?
Maybe I haven't looked for.
You spray some protective stuff.
There must be. If we've thought about it, it exists.
Yeah, but I saw some products that are like $6,000 and more, and people buy it, because they believe that it's gonna protect them. Also, we did an article quite a while back about fashion brands that are selling all kinds of clothes, and jewelry as well, to help you protect from facial recognition cameras. And in that case, it actually does make sense because you can bamboozle the software and cause a camera glitch if you wear like certain patterns, and that does make sense. So, if I am new to technology and I don't know anything about it, and there's someone approaches me and saying, okay, this is a danger, here's how to protect yourself, you just need to spend that much money. Okay, so maybe I buy one sweater that protects me from facial recognition. Then I hear that my favorite singer, she's selling tinfoil hats that's gonna protect me from Wi-Fi. Well, I didn't know that was dangerous, but if she says so, well, maybe I'll buy some. There's a huge market for that.
I had a problem with this when I saw this story. I had a problem with it because I don't know why, but I feel like it's just lies. Like, I mean, obviously it's a great marketing ploy or whatever. Like, it gets people thinking and, browsing and probably buying, because the clothing, it's kind of cool. Like, but
I loved it.
It's really cool. Like the designs and, what she's doing with like metals and stuff is cool. But I just feel like it's fake and has no credibility whatsoever. And also I feel like it's potentially bolstering these kinds of conspiracy theories that are laughable. Like they're not anything to be afraid of, I don't think. But
it's like the whole beauty industry and then marketing. Especially, I do read a lot about cosmetic products and whatnot. And this is not that different from any of other claims. Maybe it's more bold, but we know that she's that way, and she said that she's been canceled in the US just because of her views, right? And she has some very unpopular opinions when it comes to vaccination and other topics, right? She's quite a controversial figure. So I think that's why you had a problem, because that's kind of a bold statement, and we know. And also, tinfoil hat is something of a trope. It's associated with people who are very deep into conspiracy theories. So whenever you would think of someone wearing a hat like this, right, you would think, okay, they are just plain stupid and whatnot. This is just not a very positive, I guess, trope and connotation. Yes, precisely.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't like clothes. So I mean,
take them off.
But still, I mean, live and let live. I guess no one's forbidding anyone to create these kind of lines of clothes and sell them. If they make a profit, why they made a profit? It's not a crime. What the crime would be to maybe destroy 5G communication towers, and that's physical harm to infrastructure, and that's punishable by law, I guess. But this, and I think we should better think about what drives this large amount of people to believe in these theories. And this is, of course, an entirely different topic and a much wider one. But I think we have to admit that there's a huge trend of people trusting their governments and facts less and less. And it doesn't matter that these theories are hogwash or balderdash or whatever you want to call them. Some people will still rather believe them than the government or the scientists. And this is a problem.
I think
yeah.
Julian Assange might be the one to blame because, some people trusted the government, but then all these documents were leaked, right? And then we learned some very uncomfortable truths. And, the more people learn, what, let's say, governments are trying to hide, or we learn that there's Israeli spyware that every government worldwide basically is using. Then you learn not to trust anyone fully, and then if I don't trust government, I don't know what to trust because I don't trust the establishment anymore.
Yeah.
And then it's very easy to slip into some conspiracies. Well, maybe not to believe that clothing is going to protect you from radiation, right? But you are more inclined to believe some propaganda, something that is half truth, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I would even maybe talk about Edward Snowden even more than Julian Assange or Chelsea Manning. We're going to move on to that. But, it's one thing to call a conspiracy theory, before actually turning out that it's actually a conspiracy. For example, in Snowden's case, he did disclose that the government is actually surveilling or trying to surveil everyone. So, it's not even a conspiracy anymore, I guess. It's not a theory. And then voila, maybe, I'm saying, maybe one day we're going to find out that it is really possible to do something to people through 5G.
We also know that US as well as other governments, they sit on a treasure trove of intellectual property and innovation ideas.
Yeah.
Like so many very technological secrets or even exploits. In some cases, they do come from intelligence organizations. So
from military projects as well. Yeah.
So there might exist such technology that we don't know about, and of course we're not encouraging people to believe that it's possible to use that technology to read minds. But if you upload your mind, let's say on your device, like on a smartphone, and you keep journaling and you keep pictures and recordings, so your mind is not only in your head, it's also on some sort of device, so it's not completely paranoid, and probably wouldn't be fair to call those people who tend to look for such products paranoid. Maybe they just have some very hands-on experience on some stalking, spyware and all that.
Yeah. Not the only, but one of the ways for, let's say, the governments or the scientists working on government-supported projects to maybe maybe dispel the conspiracies would be to stop conspiring against people.
Not gonna happen.
At some cases.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna keep happening though, and these are robberies, modern kind of robberies, because
And not at the same time.
and
Not so much.
and not well, yeah, but 50 years ago, thieves would come into your house again, maybe threaten you at gunpoint and then steal your jewelry or cash that you're keeping in a cupboard somewhere.
The good times.
Yeah,
the olden days.
Now, as it turns out, they come into your home, carry out these violent invasions at gunpoint and then make you tell your code to your device and
Loot your
drain
crypto
your
wallets.
crypto wallets. That's what happened over the few years in the States. The FBI said this week that these armed thugs, basically teenagers, by the way, were carrying violent home invasions in multiple U.S. states so that they could, drain their victims' cryptocurrency accounts. So this is like crypto crime, but not the one
Meets
where we're talking
traditional
about.
crime.
Yeah. We're used to talking about online drug marketplaces or
It
hacking.
all kind of happening behind the
But
scenes.
this is physical, old school stuff merged with a new kind of digital
which I kind of
currency.
I'm like interested by this because I feel like it's kind of people who have an idea about like tech and crypto and kind of the digital world, but don't know how to orchestrate a hacking, or don't know how to have the enough amount of like knowledge surrounding technology to be able to facilitate a hack that would just drain all of the. That's why I think it's interesting. It's like you go there. Basically, I'll give the story. A leader of an international crypto ring was found guilty of pre-planning a series of violent home invasions, including assault and kidnapping. And so his posse could basically, as we said, drain cryptocurrency accounts. Remy St. Felix of Florida, of course, was found guilty of robbing dozens of cryptocurrency owners inside their homes. So yeah, they go to people's homes to, basically get them to give away all of their cryptocurrency.
But these were targeted attacks because before that, as far as I understand, they hacked into those people's emails and they learned that, okay, these are the people that have considerable amounts of crypto in their accounts, so they did one part of hacking. They kind of read those emails, but they didn't figure out how to do the second part, like how to hack into those crypto accounts and drain them. And they went to those houses and they threatened those people. They held them at gunpoint, right? And essentially just asked them to transfer their funds. So it's not very innovative crooks, I guess, not even hackers. It's just like old school thugs who maybe, they don't steal stereo or TVs, but they still don't know how to steal just by using, lines of code.
Well, yeah, that's what I found interesting about it. I was like, the combination of two worlds
collide.
Yeah,
but you have to remember these crypto wallets they're deep. There's a lot of money in that. And if you are able to launder it somehow, probably following some kind of a how-to instruction guide.
They didn't steal that. They didn't steal that much, though.
They stole 150,000.
That's nothing when it comes to crypto people.
Yeah, they were also not very innovative as well. There was a.
But that's a life-changing amount of money for them, I assume, if they're just like regular running.
$150,000 is not a life-changing amount.
Is it not?
It's not.
Not even to one person. You wouldn't even be able to buy a flat.
Yeah, maybe you can pay off your student debt.
Maybe they had, I would literally be allowed to pay
Assange's flight to Cranberra, where he just recently landed, and now he and the family owns to the Australian government like $500,000.
Yeah, $520K.
So that's more like a life-changing amount of money,
fair.
but even not that, because that just covers one chartered flight essentially.
Yeah, he wasn't allowed to fly commercial.
Well, yeah, I can imagine why.
So
I don't know why. It's not that special. But yeah, this kind of a crime wave in the States, a crypto crime, old school kind of wave, is not something new. Last year in London, of all places, it's the financial capital of Europe, isn't it? So 4 teenagers, and literal teenagers, 18, 17, and 19 years old, they were jailed after stealing £150,000 worth of cryptocurrency, and these were kind of the same crimes, gunpoint. So they were kind of, they were threatening and attacking and threatening their victims with knives, and forcing them to hand over the phones and provide the passcodes to unlock those, and then they would siphon off the cryptocurrency into hot wallets and stealing the money. They also, of course, stored bank information, used stored bank information to top up their accounts for public transport, I guess, taxi journeys, complete their other fraudulent transactions. The way they were caught, though, was quite dumb. Detectives were able to track them down after the crooks used the stolen bank information to order takeaways to their home addresses.
Yes,
of course.
That is UK teenagers
you
at
go,
its finest.
and it's done.
just get a Domino's,
that is the life-changing amount of money. Yeah, it did change their lives, I guess.
I saw a similar tweet. I've forgotten the guy who tweeted it, but he said that he'd just been attacked with machetes. These thugs came to his house and basically forced him to drain crypto wallets. So it's happening a lot.
It's happening,
seems.
yeah. Well, because crypto is now kind of a regular everyday feature of some people's lives and many people's lives.
Also, I feel like, especially for the younger generation, like there are more people getting into crypto because there's so much weird hype surrounding it. I feel like teenagers and young people are getting more and more involved. And then maybe more crime related to crypto is happening or being facilitated by younger people.
Of course. I still think crypto is... It's whatever, but
I don't understand, but
yeah, but
not for me to understand.
Yeah, but it's also when you look at crypto, when younger people who are quite desperate these days, on average, I would say. I mean, they don't have. Even surveys show that younger people in the UK and the US, they don't really see easier way to get maybe rich and get some money. The old school way would be to study, work, and get a job, I guess. But the real wages in America haven't been rising for 40 years, by the way.
That's not the way that it works, I guess. Anymore.
Yeah. True.
Never did. Always people who got rich by
inherited.
To become
inherit it or do something incredible that nobody's done before.
You have to become a wolf of Wall Street, and I guess people who trade in crypto, they are also trying to earn quick money because hard work doesn't
pay off.
That's true. So these are like little puppies of Wall Street.
Also, it's like I feel like it is not marketed, but it's kind of like presented or was presented maybe a while ago as being a get rich quick kind of situation where you just you deal in these little coins, maybe you make the little coins, and then it was also presented as a kind of a revolutionary way of not only making money but dealing with money in general, because screw the governments, screw their financial system, screw the banks, let's do it like this. And then for some ideologues, I think it works.
It works for people as well. Maybe it hasn't become mainstream, but definitely people have the ability to get better loans, of course, more riskier, and some people do get rich. Of course, a lot of people get scammed on the way, but
lots of people.
It does work for some people. Crypto is it's not a scam, and
I know
it's
someone
just
that
not
makes
mainstream.
The coins. It's very interesting.
But shall we move to a more controversial topic than crypto is?
Yes.
Yeah, we probably should. As we've mentioned numerous times today already, Julian Assange is free. The founder of Wikileaks has been released from a British prison, pled guilty to violating US espionage law, and has already landed in Australia and is supposedly now in contact with nature and family. His 14-year legal saga has now been brought to an end. I know, Neve, that you don't really...
No.
You haven't really followed Julian Assange and his story.
But I'm gripped by it.
Yeah,
for some
that
reason.
was an interesting thing to watch it today. You've been reading up on him. And it's like, whoa, this is crazy. Yes,
it is. It's nuts.
That's fascinating that someone around us just gets to learn about Assange just now. It's like, okay, we have so much to tell you here.
Well, yeah, because I think you guys said I was in like primary school, like when it was 2006.
Yeah, he was a hacker for much longer, but then
the whole WikiLeaks, I guess the majority of documents were published from 2010 onwards.
Mm-hmm. I would have been in high school, so that would not be on my radar.
I don't think you were born when Julian Assange started hacking stuff in Australia.
When was that?
1989.
Oh yeah, 1997. So no.
He was. I think he was 17 or 18 back then. So he started.
So he's
early.
been at it for a while, yeah.
Yeah, and also the activist part of his dealings was also visible even back then. But
he grew wings back then.
Well, I read somewhere
what he could fly.
That he had a very, very strange home life. Like his dad, I think, was like an activist in something,
and his mom as well.
And his mom, and there was something about a cult.
I've read something about his mom being involved in this organization or like a
Organization.
movement movement to protect children from, I don't know,
5G?
predators or whatnot.
Oh, right.
Do you know
okay.
the types? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that. But of course, he was arrested in 2019 in the UK. He was living in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for years before, after Sweden wanted to get him from the UK because of allegations of rape. They were then dropped, but as soon as they were dropped, Britain arrested him because the US had requested his extradition on 25, was it? 18 counts of...
I know that it amounted to 170 years in prison, maximum sentence if he would be found guilty on all of those accounts.
Yeah. So anyways, I mean, he was spending time in this British prison for years. Was it 5
Belmarsh
years?
High
Belmarsh.
Security Prison. He spent 5 years there. And I remember during the pandemic, we learned some very interesting facts, right? So for years, he's been quite a controversial figure, and the discourse around him was also a heated debate always, and we'll get back to that just in a little bit. But I think it was 2020, the heat of the pandemic, when we learned something new about Julian Assange. His now wife, Stella, spoke, saying that, oh, hey, by the way, he has 2 kids,
With her. Yeah.
Yes, we've conceived them while he was, seeking refuge at the Ecuadorian embassy. And essentially, he managed to get a secret family there. And, that just renewed the interest that, it's not just Julian Assange, so-called alleged journalist. I can't say that word. He's not a journalist. But, now suddenly he's a father of 2, so he needs to be released. There was all that, right? She went public because there was a spread of COVID at the Belmarsh prison, and Assange, he was, allegedly, we don't really know, of poor health, and she was kind of worried that,
He would die.
Probably you just get sick. There was an outbreak, and we were all very, I guess, on the edge because of the pandemic at the time. It was 2020, right? But I believe that this did contribute, to what the developments that we are seeing now. Because, suddenly he's also this family persona, and he, recalled some very horrific stories from when he was at the embassy. We don't know if any of them are true, but supposedly some, agents following him, even trying to steal a diaper of his baby to kind of prove that it's his. I don't know how would that...
Or that it isn't his. Or that it is his.
We will never know because no one
will corroborate the story.
Yes, of course, but that's when we started to learn about very disturbing facts or not facts, tales. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know, because we are just hearing mostly his side on the hardships that he supposedly, had there. But also, because no one knew, and it wasn't public information that his kids, I think one guy would pretend that he is bringing his kid over, to show Julian at the embassy, while it was actually, Julian's kid. Again, supposedly.
So I have a question. If he's in this embassy seeking asylum, what? Oh, maybe it's because he wanted to hide the fact that he had kids. Is that why?
No, that's before. He was hiding or living in the embassy because Ecuador allowed him to. They gave him asylum because he didn't want to be sent to Sweden.
Yeah, to
these hearings about rape allegations, because he was claiming that Sweden is in cahoots with the US, and Sweden will send him to
the
DC,
US,
and then obviously
then he's
trial
screwed.
there, and then he's probably screwed because one set of, let's say, people call him like a truth seeker and this kind of ethical hacker, I guess, or something like that.
Hacktivist.
A hacktivist, yes, exactly. Yeah, and WikiLeaks is truly brave organization to them and all that. But the other side of
much hacking though. There wasn't much hacking involved.
He was accepting files that were gotten from hacking or.
He allegedly helped to hack Chelsea Manning a password that she needed to get into the computer, but yeah.
Yeah, you've mentioned Chelsea Manning, and what she did was transferred some information to WikiLeaks in 2010 or maybe earlier, but in 2010 that was published. It's probably the most famous leak published by WikiLeaks ever, I guess. It's about these hundreds of thousands of classified U.S. military documents, including diplomatic cables and battlefield reports, and of course, the single most famous story was about is a video showing how U.S. helicopter gunships gunned down dozens of civilians in the street, including 2 people who had been working for Reuters news agency.
Saying fire them up.
Light them up.
Yeah.
And then keep firing. That was horrible.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah, but also it revealed a lot of kind of governmental secrets from classified documents, like 60,000 additional unreported civilian casualties during the Iraq war, and those sort of juicy details that were in those documents. But I don't, because everyone keeps saying, and you ask Niv, so who is he? A journalist, activist? Neither. I don't know. He hasn't been active, for years now, because obviously he was imprisoned. It was his followers, and now his cult, I guess, that's been active. What he did, so he, that's the way how I view it. He helped to steal classified documents from the U.S. state, and then he published that essentially in bulk. So that's not that different from what we see on dark web forums, right? Someone steals something, only they ask money for some sensitive data, because they are, opportunists, financially motivated crooks.
He did like that. A service, right?
Yeah, he did that for free, and of course, we as journalists, I worked, at a newsroom at the time. We were very happy because very juicy stories were out there, but the data out there was accessible to anyone, right? And highly sensitive, not fact-checked, not proved in any way, just published in bulks. And later on, we saw also a lot of personal information published, like home addresses of politicians, phone numbers, a lot of data published throughout the years. So his supporters say, and it's not that I don't support him, because again, we saw some very dirty things and very good stories came out of what was published on WikiLeaks page. But now he is no journalist. He didn't do anything with it. It's The Guardian and other media outlets that actually vetted some of those stories. And a journalist is supposed to hold powerful accountable, right? Just to kind of ask the hard questions, fact check, and be there, not just publish unverified data out there. So it's not fair to journalists, to like true hard-hitting journalists, to say that, oh, I'm a journalist. No, he's not. He's a hacker.
He's a whistleblower.
But the argument could be made, though. I mean, for the purposes of like press freedom and the First Amendment protections that people do get in the United States, what matters is not who counts as a journalist, but whether these activities are journalistic-like.
Like ethical.
Whether performed by a journalist or anyone else.
But in what way they could be journalistic-like?
Well, that's what I wanted to finish. That's what his supporters claim, that this is like whistleblowing or ethical it's public interest to accept hacks and
expose them
and publicize them and whatnot. I actually agree with Jurgit. I mean, it's not gathering. Journalism is gathering information and then maybe arranging it and organizing it and publishing it in the name of public interest. Normal journalism.
You don't just go into the parliament, steal something from some office, and then publish that in bulk without verifying. Oh, here it is. I stole this.
Because he really did. I personally believe he really did endanger hundreds of individuals in Iraq and Afghanistan when he published those unredacted packages of huge packages of information, because these people who were maybe working with American troops in Iraq, Afghanistan, Taliban is back now in power in Afghanistan. What happened to these people? Their names were out there. And I'm pretty sure Taliban has IT-friendly people capable of finding those names. Even years ago, they did.
But what did the people do to have their names be out there? What was the...
Maybe clean the American troop houses or whatnot.
Country. They served the country. They had some tasks. They went to Iraq, to Afghanistan, and obviously their names as well as footage. It's out there, and U.S. tries to protect those identities of the people. Of intelligent agents, of soldiers
who are in the country.
Informants.
Yes, okay.
Iraqis and Afghanistanis. Yes.
I see. Okay, that's not. But
I mean,
what about the BNP releasing? Apparently, on WikiLeaks, they published the names, addresses, and contact information of more than 13,000 members of the British National Party.
Was that secret information?
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
I'm
their names and
bamboozled.
addresses and.
Addresses.
Like
names are
addresses.
just not. I mean, you're a member
I don't know.
of a
They
party.
basically doxed the.
Oh yeah, but that's small fish, isn't it?
But it's still, you're still exposing people who have extremely, in my opinion, really horrible beliefs.
Yeah, well,
and
BNP is old news now. Reform Party.
But I think maybe it's not somewhere in one place, but that's also information you can get easily your hands on.
But what about juicy emails sent from Sony? That was
that was also a good one. Of course, doesn't really compare to the Iraq and Afghan diaries, but yeah, this is a
bit of light WikiLeaks.
Light leaks. Tell us more about it. Just remind us the story, because you just learned about it, so you have the freshest memory here.
So there were emails leaked that showed blatant misogyny within the corporation. The emails revealed that actresses Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams were paid less than their male co-stars in American Hustle. There were messages from producers and executives insulting celebrities like Angelina Jolie. And Leonardo DiCaprio was called despicable for turning down a role in a Sony Pictures film.
Despicable Me?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, not in that one. But that's so light.
I know. But I found another interesting one that I'm a bit confused by. But it's to do with 9/11. And it says that the WikiLeaks published what it says are 573,000 intercepted pager messages sent during the 9/11 attacks in the United States.
What was the point of that?
This is what I'm struggling to find, because it says on WikiLeaks, however, many are about the deadly plane attacks. Many of the messages are about the plane attacks and range from people trying to find out if their loved ones are safe, to government messages, to computer server errors. There was one message that says, President has been rerouted, won't be returning to Washington, but not sure where he will go.
Okay.
So
maybe that was just showing off that they can, find these pager files and then publish them, because it's just, what's the point of this?
The pager company said it was troubled by the allegations, and the fire department, police departments didn't comment on whether the messages were purportedly were genuine. And the US Secret Service refused to comment. So I'm thinking, are they saying that, the old meme of Bush did 9/11? Is it that kind of conspiracy theory?
I think there's no conspiracy here. I mean, the thing with whistleblowers like Assange, they try to publish everything they can, you know. There's also DDoS secrets and hacktivists who publish, publicly, but only to registered users. So you can only prove that you are a journalist and get your hands on some files. But the hacktivists do that, let's say, with Russian-Ukrainian war. Right? They just expose countries and hoping that you will do the work for them, dig into those documents, and maybe we'll find something out there. So, this in this case, I guess, it's just that there are that many messages, and they could expose some very interesting details about what was happening at the time, right?
Yeah.
It seems like it's meaningless, but it isn't. Also, what it showed that the U.S. government went into panic after 9/11, intercepting probably everything they could because of the fear of following attacks, more attacks.
Yeah.
So it is quite telling in that way.
Maybe, yeah. I would like to get back to his plea deal and what it means as well for basically whistleblowing, hacking, and releasing information that is supposed to be secret and the governments want it to remain secret. Because I do not think still that the case has answered the question what it means to be a journalist, a publisher, or a whistleblower, because it's a bit mixed up in my mind right now. Because no one before Assange in the States has been charged under the Espionage Act for a journalistic act. Again, we can argue about whether this was a journalistic act, but no one before has ever been charged for this kind of activity under the Espionage Act. In part because there was always, in the Justice Department, there was always a widespread assumption that applying that law to such acts would be unconstitutional and it would breach the First Amendment, which is a very wide and allowing kind of a amendment in the United States Constitution. So I guess it is now a fact that for the first time in American history, gathering and publishing information, not hacking it, or urging others to hack it and then give it to us. Like Russia, he actually encouraged Russia to give files about Hillary Clinton to him. That's very noble of him, really. Yeah, because Russia is like an angelic country compared to the US, obviously. Because from what I see about what Wikileaks has been publishing stuff about, the US and the West in general are the whole evil cabal, and Russia, China, or whatever he didn't even touch ever. So it smells of hypocrisy big time for me. But anyways, this, according to the New York Times, I think, and the Washington Post and the Guardian, obviously, because he had a lot of and still have a lot of allies in this British newspaper. It is a precedent, and it might send a certain message to national security journalists all around, the US or the UK who may be worried about how aggressively they now have to do their jobs because they will see a greater risk of prosecution. So I don't know. It could have been worse, by the way, because there's a theory that because Assange accepted the plea deal to one, he admitted his guilt to one charge, and then it was under the Espionage Act, but this way, both Assange and free speech advocates in the United States, at least, they have dodged a larger threat, because let's say he kept being stubborn and refused any kind of plea deals with the U.S. government, and he would maybe, or his advocates would maybe have decided to challenge, the legitimacy of applying the Espionage Act to his actions in the Supreme Court, finally, right? And then the Supreme Court, as conservative as it is now, it is pretty Trump-like, really, because of his actions. So there might have been a definitive ruling by the Supreme Court blessing this kind of narrow interpretation of the prosecuting side of the First Amendment press freedoms. And that would have stayed for good, that you can prosecute people for such activity. Now it's just a one-off. So maybe, a larger bullet, a threat to press freedom could have been dodged by this. I don't know. I don't want Assange to seem like a martyr or something like. And I'm glad that he was released, and maybe now everyone can forget him, because the longer you are in jail or imprisoned and in the eyes of many unlawfully or unfairly, the longer you remain, the bigger a martyr kind of figure you become.
Like a bigger evil.
And that's
than
you don't really deserve that kind of attention. You know?
No, not the evil, but maybe they idolize you, because they think, oh, if only you were free, you could, climb
change
mountains,
the world,
change
yeah.
the world and whatnot. Now I'm really happy for him. He seemed kind of depressed, and there are
I don't think his health was very good as well.
No, and it's good. It's good that this drama could, I hope, will be finally over, and we can just move on, because now it's old stories, it's old news.
I don't want to move on. I want to know.
You're gripped,
I want to know
yeah.
everything. I want to watch the film. What's it called? The Fifth something.
I don't know.
I want to watch the film. I want them to create a TV series about it. It's gripping. I don't know why.
Like I said before, I think he's gonna rest, recuperate,
And then write a memoir.
No, he's gonna dive back into his activities. I think, because I don't think.
How old is he?
I don't think 52.
52.
Is he not a bit old now?
Is it old?
What?
52. It's not old.
No, as in like maybe you've spent your
Well, he's been silent for years, so he has a lot to say.
But yeah, but like about his own experiences, surely not about anybody else.
Well, according to his wife and his colleagues or advocates in WikiLeaks, he was spending these 5 years inside a very small, almost solitary cell. I don't believe that.
They said that he would spend like 23 hours per day in a cell, at least at some point in Belmarsh prison. So he was, pretty much close. So I'm not
That's
sure.
deranged.
I guess he could make a living just from some donations, for quite a while. But first, the debt to
maybe
to
start up a
Australian government.
manifesto or something like that. If
I don't
history,
know. I don't know. WikiLeaks, it hasn't been active since 2021, and more generally, I mean, when did he go into this embassy to hide? Was it 2013 maybe? 14?
So 5 years in Belmarsh prison, and then 7 at
so
the
2012.
So 2012.
So I guess
2012.
back then the digital world was still kind of this domain of rebellious optimists or whatnot, and now the web has changed.
We
a lot.
have breach forums, like there's
but
plenty of
still,
good
but
data
still the
out there.
official kind of web, it's still like controlled by these powerful tech oligarchs. They're pretty monopolistic, and the web has changed a lot itself. So it's a different world, I guess. It's been transformed, and WikiLeaks is. Back then in 2012 or 13 or 14, there was Snowden leaks and all that. WikiLeaks was seen as this, progressive institution, uncovering crimes by governments all around the world. Now its reputation, especially after 2016, when it actually helped Russia to publicize these stolen emails from Hillary Clinton camps, and it did actually factually helped Donald Trump to win these swing states. So I don't know. Its reputation has been tarnished.
Yeah.
I don't believe Assange is like a foreign agent, as many conservative politicians and ex-security agents or people in the States are now claiming. For instance, this former CIA analyst Gail Helt wrote on social media that Assange is a despicable Russian asset who harmed hundreds of people and dismissed them like they didn't matter. With the second part of the sentence, I do agree, but Russian asset, I think Julian Assange is an asset of Julian Assange. I mean, he's that arrogant, he's that narcissistic.
He's a character.
I think the only way for him
one.
is to get like a TV show and whatnot, but also like his time has passed, I think.
That's what I'm saying. It's
interesting, but it's already
And he has a family now. Live with your family.
It's ancient history when it comes to the internet. As you told, this is ancient history.
Yeah.
Not for me, but
Okay. We wish Niamh luck in diving into this story deeper, and then we'll ask about it.
I'll tell you
week.
all about it.
Okay, can't wait. I need to refresh my memory a bit. It's been a while.
Yeah. So this was Cybernews podcast. Jurgita Lepinite, Niamh Ansel, and me, Gintaras Radauskas. See you and hear you all next week.